I personally like to have a method, an organization for my whiteboard every day. And that's part of the way that I teach Supreme Math and Supreme Alphabet, and interweave certain principles and concepts into the kids' lives, right? So if you look up on the board there, it says August 1, knowledge, and it's past that now, it's like 6th. But, and then on the other side, it says A, arm, leg, arm, head. It's got a little stick figure there. Every day, there's going to be a very clear, very simple, and very important explanation for the day's mathematics and also the alphabet. The organization and the structure of the board, all this is about, for me, building file folders in a child's mind, right? And teaching them how to organize their thoughts and organize their memories so they can access them at will, right? And if you're looking up knowledge or August 1, or September 1, whatever it's used for, you're gonna go over the very core concept of knowledge, and there's a lot of layers to that, right? And initially, I'm gonna stick to the layers that apply and that are useful to the child, right? And I have to shy away from saying religious words in a public school classroom, right? Even though this is not meant in a religious context when you say Allah. And that's very interesting because that word strikes a chord in a lot of people's hearts. If they come from the United States, you see that, you hear that word, you see that word. Especially for some people, it's going to mean something that's foreign, that's religious, that's serious, that might not be something you want to touch, right? For a lot of people in this country, they're going to have that emotional response to that word, and for others, that's going to be something very, very holy, something, you don't want to touch, for different reasons, and then for a non-religious person. But what we talk about here, we're taking the spook out of it, right? We're taking the mystical quality out of it, and we're talking about breaking it down to simply arm, leg, arm, head. Some fundamental basic ideas about their relationship to the world, and you're either breaking them out of or steering them clear of, looking at things from a supernatural perspective, right? This is a very powerful tool that lines right up with knowledge, because that's one of the first things you have to know. So every time that I go over knowledge with the kids, any students, it allows me to establish that number 1, right? Or that word, knowledge, and what it means. Firstly, they're going to know that it means to look, to listen, observe, and also respect. And they're going to understand that from standpoints of real practical examples. While I'm walking in a path through the woods with my kids, I'm looking down at my phone. I get a ping from my business, and I look down and I'm stepping in poison ivy. Or poison oak, whatever the shit, poison oak, right? I'm stepping in poison oak or something. And so, firstly, I'm not looking, I'm not paying attention, I'm not observing where I'm at, right? But I'm also not really respecting the situation I'm in, which is the woods, where it's got some unknown elements here, and some things you got to be careful of and pay attention to, right? My understanding could have been that I got a big rash, like all over my legs, could have been my understanding. At the most basic ways where you relate into those 3 steps of life, as you get that drilled into a kid's head to the point where they understand what's happening, they start paying attention to things before they act, right? Even grown-ups that know better, have problems with this all the time, right? So if you get a kid on fundamental level at that age, they start paying attention to what they're doing, and they start thinking first, as a habit, as an original habit, not something they have to unlearn and relearn better, but something they're learning the first time. I mean, because you started, after you get through 1 and 2 and 3 with your students, you've started, right, at a place where you don't even know anything yet, right? Then you get knowledge, and you learn your words, ways, and actions, and what that really means, and then what that ultimately leads to is what you have, a clear picture of everything. That's a lot to give a kid. And when they start to apply it for themselves, just in little things, that ultimately leaves them, through that lifestyle, to really feeling empowered. These are your 2 pieces on the real estate of the board. This is the month, this is the day, this is the mathematics that correspond to that day, which eventually after 10 is going to become a math problem too, right? And then over here on the left, you have every day of the month, you'll have your A, B, C, D, and you'll skip the days you don't teach, always corresponding. So you show that relationship, and in that relationship, hopefully there's going to be some kind of a valuable lesson like there is with 3 understanding and C, right? Hopefully there's going to be a connection that you get to reveal. So now not only is the the child or the student seeing the relationship of these numerals to valuable concepts, empowering concepts, that they can collect, much like other things they like to collect, if you put it to them that way. Not only are they seeing that, right, but they're also seeing a correlation or a connection to a English letter, right? And even just knowing the Arabic numerals tells us a history about mathematics. So when you really start biting into the lesson, like, if you're going into 1 to 10, who's the original man, you're looking at the 1 to 36, and my name is, who you are, and then you go into the 1 to 14, and why isn't the devil settled, or, who made the Holy Quran or Bible, who made the number system, right? These are all connections with, about inquiries and finding out knowledge and information about something important, right? And so it all starts with that. So other concepts related to this on this day, you could be talking about things that are foundational, right? Or if it's one, right, this is the day, this is what I'm laying it on you. This is the new thing. This is the new concept. And I don't care if we're talking about why we use an apostrophe before an NT when we're trying to put two English words together, right? I'm one way or the other, something new is coming here. And then on the second day, you're going to be putting your own practice to it. You're going to be putting your own pen to paper, right? And then by the third day, you're going to be able to see something you didn't see before we started. Make that a part of our routine until you're good at it, right? Until you're equal with everybody else who knows how to do it, right? Now where can we go? And from there, you get into the real meat of teaching, and that's why there's so much space left on the board, right? And that real estate is going to be somewhat predictably separated out into what become learning objectives, right? And that's the most important thing here to me, right? Because learning objectives mean you went in with a plan, and at the end of this lesson, the student is going to walk away knowing something that they didn't know before, and after a couple of days and after some extended time with the student, they're going to walk away being able to do something that they haven't done before. And then after they spend even more time with you, then they're going to really see what's going on. They're going to start to own that concept, and it's going to become a part of what they do from now on as a student, right? When you're dealing with a kid in kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and even in later grades, this is the kind of gift that you're giving them. And in this case, they're walking away with a number system that's going to surround them their whole life, that has a valuable concept attached to it that was given to them with love, and to empower them, not to kind of guide them in some kind of a mystical direction, and it's not reliant upon luck, and it's not reliant upon any kind of supernatural activity or any belief system or anything like that. It's a straight gift, to be used and opened right away. And so the board won't be filled with disposable BS, right? Over here, it might be where we're reading from. It might be a word problem, right? / mugshot, meaning a sentence with a two-step math problem, but at the same time, that sentence requires a student to go back and say, hey, is everything capitalized properly? It's not, what needs to be fixed? And if we're really good, we're going to connect that to the day's math, which is knowledge, or the day's alphabet, which is A, right? And that's going to be hitting things on 3-4 different notes all at once. And this happens over time, and you kind of adapt the math that you're teaching and the content you're teaching to that, to that growing, developing student.